Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me again today. Today, I want to challenge you to know your target. That's right. Know your target. Many times I've asked this question to salespeople: who's your target market? Who is your target market? Who are you selling to? And judging by the answers I receive, I can separate quite effortlessly people who've been in sales for a long time and have the experience versus those who are just starting out. See, the answer to this question is an immediate telltale sign. It tells me everything I need to know about how much a person knows about selling. 9 out of 10 times when I ask this question, the response has always been, I sell to anybody who will buy, Victor. Now the reality, let's do a little reality check here. You can't sell to everybody. It's not impossible, it's improbable. Not everyone you approach will need or want your product or service. So to say that you sell to everyone is really missing the point here. Now, when you talk to someone who doesn't know who they're selling to, and you find out they're not having any luck, you'll often hear this excuse: well, Victor, the reason I'm not selling is because people are simply not buying. There's a recession. Market's bad, interest rates are higher than expected, unemployment, blah, blah, blah. They just start throwing up all over the place with excuses, right? The problem is they simply don't know who to sell to. They probably have a great product, a great service, but they don't know who to sell to. That's the lie they tell themselves. That's a poor excuse they often use. No one is buying. The reality is someone is always buying. Whether the market is high, whether the market is low, someone is always buying. The reason no one is buying may be because they're simply selling to the wrong target market. They can have the best product in the world with all the bells and whistles a customer wants, but if they're selling it to the wrong target market, the chances of you succeeding are not very good. You can have the best snowmaking machine in the world, but if you're selling it to the wrong market, guess what? If you're selling it to an Eskimo, Eskimo's going to go, I don't need a snow-making machine. I just don't need that. Get the idea? Finding your ideal target market, finding the people who want your product or service, that's the key to selling and closing more deals. You have to know who your target market is. Often people fail in sales because they simply haven't taken the time to think about who they should be selling to. And I know you're probably thinking as you're listening to this, well, that's kind of basic, Victor. Doesn't everybody know this? No, not everybody knows this. Most people just want to sell. If they got a pulse, they got a heartbeat, that's my customer. They don't take the time to think about it. And here's why things going on in their head. By not focusing in on a target market, they think they increase their law of averages, right? In other words, if I just sell to everybody, out of all these people, somebody's going to want to buy, right? Well, that's horrible thinking, because instead of trying to fish in the ocean, why don't we find a small little pond that has the type of fish we're looking for? That's a much easier sales approach. If you try to sell to everybody, you'll wind up selling to no one. And again, when you focus in on a target list client base, people who want to buy your product, your close rate will go up. But here's the beauty. Your marketing costs and your effort go down. Let me explain that. This is important. When you focus in on a target market, when you know who you're selling to, your close rate will go up and your marketing costs and effort will go down. Why? It's obvious. If I'm selling to somebody who wants my product, guess what? I'm more likely to close that deal than not. 2, instead of marketing to everybody, I just market to these specific people. And because I'm only marketing to these specific people, those are the people that are responding. Because they're responding, they're qualified, I can close them faster. My effort in selling goes down. So again, how can you sell more? In order to sell more successfully, just again, focus on people who will buy your product. That's the question you need to ask yourself. Now, if you're having a hard time coming up with the answer, coming up with ideas, maybe different types of people, then get together with somebody. Sit down with somebody you respect and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to sell this product or service, and I'm trying to identify different market segments. And maybe a little brainstorming session, you may come up with 4 or 5 different market segments, right? Target markets that you can go after. Great, I say. Then take those 4 or 5 target markets and then prioritize them, right? Who is more likely to buy out of these 5? Well, let's pick the first one. Well, let's go after that market. By doing that, you sequentially start building up your intelligence. What do I mean by that? When you go after the first market, and because you're focusing on one market, you're going to learn a lot in terms of how to market and how to sell to them, how to do the presentation, how to do the pitch, what closes, what doesn't close, what works, what resonates, what doesn't resonate. And then once you become successful in that market, you start moving over to the second target market, but now you're bringing over more intelligence from the first market. And now you go after this market and you'll learn a little more. And this is what the best of the best do when they talk about building businesses, building their portfolio of clients. So what I'd like you to do, here's the exercise. I want you, step 1, is to really begin to think about who your target client is. And you do so by doing this. Just categorize 5 types of people or companies, B2C or B2B, that will buy your product or service, right? So let's say you pick your B2C, pick the type of person. Is it an individual? Is it a person who's above a certain age? What's the demographic? Are they married, not married? Do they live in a certain area? Really begin to identify that buying persona. That's the key phrase. Identify that target, which is a buying persona. Who would buy my product? And then begin to orient your pitch, your presentation, how you talk, your marketing to that type of person. If you're in B2B, let's figure out what industry, what market segment, what types of companies, and within those companies, who should I talk to? Should I talk to a VP? Should I talk to the CTO, the CIO? VP of Human Resource, who should I talk to? And then identify that persona. And then list out the characteristics. These are companies that have, for example, more than 20,000 people or 2,000 people or 200 people. They have annual sales of this. They've been in business this long. Begin to build out what that demographic profile looks like, right? And do that for B2C as well. Find the individual. Are they married? How long have they been married? Do they own a house? Do they have kids? Do they have pets? Do they have 2 cars? Begin to build that profile. This is how you begin to know who your target market is. And again, if you take the time, just stop selling for a moment. Take the time to say, who can I sell to? Who's my target market? Again, it's going to do 3 things. Increase your close rate, reduce your marketing costs, and also reduce your sales effort, therefore making it easier for you to sell and make more money. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, hope that helps. Again, really develop your target audience in your head. Come up with 5 and begin with the first one and start working your way through all 5 and let those sales grow. That's it for this Sales Influence podcast. As always, don't forget to leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. Let me know what you think. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my online sales training platform. You know the deal, the Sales Mastery Academy. 25 videos, 25 courses, 300 videos, 12 books. Again, if you're serious and you need help in identifying your target market, I got programs in the Sales Mastery Academy that can help you. So go to salesmasteryacademy.us. That's salesmasteryacademy.us and become part of my tribe. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, let's wait for the drop. Here it comes. Ready? Wait for it. I love that part. Always reminding you, selling it hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.